Welcome to our next class in Renewing Image Bearers. Today we're going to talk about sound doctrine. Here are the key concepts in this lesson. Doctrine matters. Point 2, there are distortions and false teachings that are prevalent and we need to know about them. But just as important and probably more important, we want to know the correct doctrine. Third is our life is affected by what we believe. So doctrine is not just an intellectual thing, it actually affects the way we live. And we'll see that our belief system, and that's point 4, also affects those that are around us. So let's turn our Bibles to 1 Timothy 4 verse 16. The Bible reads, "Watch your life and doctrine closely, persevere in them, because if you do, you will save both yourself and your hearers." So here's the word that I want to zero in on, persevere. Now you're probably surprised. You probably thought I'd focus on the word life and doctrine, and we'll get to that in just a second. But persevere. Why? Because slight distortions over time can lead to completely missing the destination. Think about that for a second. Slight distortions over time can actually lead us to miss the destinations. It doesn't have to be big distortions, even the slight ones. In fact, I could make a case that the slight distortions are much more dangerous than the big ones. So let's take an example, faith alone. So let's turn to Romans chapter 10 verse 9. "If you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved." So taking this isolated verse, the implication is, if I believe, faith alone, then I'm saved. Now faith is very important, but faith is not emotionalism or intellectual agreement. For example, it's not just going to a hyped up service and you feel perhaps extra guilty for that at that time for some reason, and you hear this powerful message and you're like, wow, yes, I believe. Neither is it like an intellectual agreement where you just agree, yes, Jesus died on the cross, rose from the dead, I believe. Faith is so much more than that. Faith is so much more richer than that. Now, that's what I mean by slight distortion. Faith is exceptionally important, no question about it. But then when we distort that to the point of saying faith is all I need to do is to believe, but then I can continue living anyhow I see fit. Or it's just me and God. As long as I believe, it doesn't matter. We literally are cutting out chunks of the Bible that does speak about a whole lot of other things that is vital. In fact, faith, love, obedience, grace, mercy, truth, judgment, they all are sort of all there in the Bible, right? And we can't just say, well, faith is all I need. I don't need any of that other stuff. That's a distortion. And over time, will affect both us and those that are around us. And that's going back to life and doctrine. It's the imagery of the two wings of an airplane. Which one is more important, the left or the right wing? Well, they both are. Now, continuing with this idea of faith alone, we can replace that notion of faith alone with something else. For example, baptism alone. Believing that, hey, I'm baptized, I'm good to go. It reminds me of the scripture in 2 Timothy chapter 3. And in verse 1, the Bible reads, "You should know this, Timothy, that in the last days there will be very difficult times. For people will love only themselves and their money. They will be boastful and proud, scoffing at God, disobedient to their parents, and ungrateful. They will consider nothing sacred. They will be unloving and unforgiving. They will slander others and have no self-control. They will be cruel and hate what is good. They will betray their friends, be reckless, be puffed up with pride, and love pleasure rather than God. They will act religious, but they will reject the power that could make them godly." Stay away from people like that. And so again, here's the zeroing in on they will act religious. We can replace, again, faith alone with perhaps baptism alone, or something religious, quote unquote. And again, I'm not saying baptism is religious. In fact, in the last study we saw, it is actually so amazing and so powerful. But I hope I'm making sense that we could have this sort of distorted thinking that, hey, I'm baptized, I'm good to go, and I can go live my life anyhow I see fit. Or it could be church membership. Hey, I go to church, I'm good to go. It's to be mindful that sound doctrine is so vital, that we don't just pick one aspect and distort it to such extent that it actually ends up taking us off course. So here's a question I'd encourage you to reflect on. What is the doctrine you believe in? And what scriptures support the doctrine you believe in? Here's the assignment. Go through the sound and false doctrine, and you can see the study in the link below. And share with your team members what are you learning in this lesson, and meet with your team leader. I hope this lesson has really helped us to see the importance of sound doctrine, and that life and doctrine matter, and that what we believe affects both our lives but also those that are around us. And so hopefully this has been a helpful lesson. Look forward to seeing you again next week. Till then, God bless you and have a great week. Thank you.